All right, you guys, so something I've been meaning to add to the Turbo Corolla is a dash cam. I've literally been driving this car for 2 years without a dash cam. Literally every other car that I have has a dash cam, except for this car. And this is a car that I literally drive like 90% of the time. What we got here is a Redtiger dual channel dash cam. Or I'm sorry, it's actually, I forgot, this is actually a 3-channel dash cam. So you can see inside the cabin as well as the rear and the front, obviously. So they sent this out. So thank you guys for sending this out, Redtiger. And let's open it up. So we have the main camera, which actually has a really large screen. Then it has the front camera that faces inside the cabin, as well as the external one. And then we have the rear one that we're gonna mount as well. And then it has all the instructions. And the cables. So you can either hardwire this or do a cigarette lighter, which is what they supply directly with the unit, or you can get their hardwire kit, which then comes with pretty much everything you need to do to hardwire it, fuse tap it, and go in that way. So I'm most likely going to hardwire it. I just got to find a fuse that I know I need to tap into. But the easy way out, like I said, is just going the cigarette lighter way, but it's hard to hide the wires. So let's hop into the car and see where we need to run everything. This camera is kind of chunky. Let's just say that. I'm probably going to put it somewhere around there, but I kind of want to see where this camera, well, it's actually nice. This actually has an adjustable camera, so you can kind of swivel it around and actually get a better view of the cabin itself. So I'm just gonna generally put it there so it's mostly behind the rear view mirror and I don't see it. And then it's nice then that I don't have to worry about positioning based on this, because then I can move that around. So let me get a good spot and then we'll slap this up on there and then we'll start running wires. So we're most likely going to want to run wires probably down this direction to get to the fuse box under here for this Corolla. But I mean, some people have fuse boxes over on the passenger side, but Toyota tends to put everything on the driver's side. So that's probably going to be the way I go, is up, over, down, and around. And then for the rear one, I'm going to take it all the way back there and make sure you get behind the airbag when you do that. So, and what's nice is they actually give you nothing special other than just a USB-C connector, and that's how it gets power and sends the signal and everything like that. So super simple cables. And then I didn't even realize that this has a voltage protection, so that way if your voltage on your battery gets to a certain voltage, it will actually shut off. So you can go 12.4, 12, or 11.6 volts. So just in case if you do hardwire it, that way it will shut off after a certain amount of voltage, and that way it doesn't drain your battery anymore. So, but let's get this mounted and figure out how to get all this wire done. All right, so I just got this mounted. So like when you're in the driver's seat, you really don't notice it at all, but it's pretty much right here. And with the adjustable camera, I should definitely be able to see inside the cabin. But now we got to get our wires going. So what's nice, they're just right up here. So let's figure out which section we need to run, because obviously you don't want to try to shove down a huge block down here. So I'm probably going to start from the bottom and work my way up that way to get to the camera. All right, so coming down into the footwell of the driver's side, I took off this piece right here. It just kind of pops off with a few clips, and the fuse box is literally right where my fingers are at. So I already have a fuse tab in there right now for my like boost gauges and stuff. So I'm gonna come in here, find another spot, and then we'll tie into that. So but Also, listen to what I said at the beginning and don't do what I just did, because I gotta kind of undo some of the wiring and bring it down here and then run this up through here, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit that through any of this. So let me undo what I did and then start from here and work my way back up. So in the kit, they send you pretty much every type of fuse you might be able to see. I believe they're gonna want, they're not minis, I think these are like micro fuses. So we're just gonna have to tie into one that has power. So probably find, you're gonna probably need a voltmeter that we can check which ones are good for what. All right guys, so I went and I pulled the wire. Well, I guess I put a wire down here to fish it down, taped it, then pulled it up through, and I just kind of taped it alongside some of the other wires that are there, and then I ran it up above inside the headliner. So now we're here. I'm going to find a ground, which I pretty much have one right here, and then I'll find the accessory power that I want to tap into, and then just put one of these in there. Should be pretty simple. All right, so I just picked a random outlet. Let's see, and it does not come on. Okay, so I need to not be lazy and actually look. I just found an empty one, so, but yeah, let me go get a meter and then we'll figure this out. I pretty much got the wiring how I want it. I did have to do something different than I thought I was going to have to do, based on, I don't know why, but I think it has something to do with the USB-Cs in the way they ground out and stuff like that. So typically you have three wires. You'll have your black, which is your ground, your yellow, which is your positive to turn it on, and then you'll have the red to trigger on accessory. Typically though, if you just ran the yellow wire to an accessory fuse, the unit would just turn on because that's how it is. But it needs the accessory and the power, the B plus, to be plugged in. And so I just took one of these connectors I had that matched what was on here, and I just crimped them both together to go into one thing, because I didn't want to have two fuse taps in my box, because I don't plan on using this for the parking mode, because I really don't think I need to, but I'm gonna probably jinx myself. But so now I finally got it powered on based on doing that. So this is running in accessory mode. So again, and this has a voltage difference, so if you don't want this to kick on at a certain voltage, you could just move this, and it's from 12.4 volts down to like 11.6 volts. So, but anyways, now that I have that, I'm gonna tidy up all my wiring, which up here is pretty much done. Down here is a mess, so I gotta get this all zip tied and pushed up. Luckily that kick panel covers everything over here. So, and again, on a Corolla, I just ground it out right on here. And then for me, I don't know if you can see, but that fuse tap right here is where I tapped it in. It was actually an empty one on my thing, so I didn't even need to pull any fuses. It was just an empty one, and I just went and made sure that it's accessory power, so when I turn the car off, the dash cam will also turn off. So let me tidy all this up, and then we'll run the wire all the way to the back camera as well. All right, so hopping in the back seat, I had already started routing this a little bit, but we are going to want to pop this off, as well as start pulling some of the weather stripping. All right, so I pretty much ran it all the way up through the headliner, up to the back here. I did pop off this panel on mine, and which I think I'm going to be putting all the excess cable back there, because I have like probably 3 feet of extra cable. So I'm going to probably wrap that up and just tuck it behind this panel, and then I'll run what I need up and over here. All right, so I got all my extra wire tucked behind this panel, and then I got the rear camera over there. So everything's pretty much hidden away. So let's go take a look at some of the features. All right guys, so I got everything all cleaned up. wires are looking very minuscule, so you don't see them at all except for where it goes into here. So I'd say we are good to take off the screen protector. This has all sorts of things: fatigue reminder, G sensor, loop recording, sound record, Wi-Fi. So I didn't even realize that you can connect this to your phone. The click tone, I'm going to turn that off because I don't want that. Startup sound, screensaver. Internal recording, voice control, mirror flip, rear camera flip, parking mode, GPS, date stamp. I mean, you pretty much have every type of setting on here. So I'm going to download the app real quick and we'll see if we can view this on our phone. So what's nice about Redtiger is they're actually using their own app. Some other dash cams use like third-party camera apps. So this one should be more integrated into everything that you want. So let's go connect to the dash cam. Let's create an account, I guess. And now it shows up. And now we can preview the front, the rear. All right, so, and then it looks like you can record, you can do sound, you can even mirror and switch everything on here. So, which is pretty nice. It also gives you a live GPS of where you're at. So, and then it looks like you can pretty much do, you can turn on some of the settings on here. It's not all of them. But I am noticing as you're connected to here, you are not allowed to use this while it's connected to the phone. So I'm not sure how to turn off the Wi-Fi. Okay, so it'll beeped at me, but it'll automatically go back, and then I believe you will lose connection to your phone. So pretty much all pretty good stuff. I mean, it does record in 4K for the front camera, the front facing camera only, and I believe the rest of everything else is 1080p. So again, you take pictures, you can record, and so I'm gonna probably jump through some of these settings too and see what else you can mess with. But screensaver, you can mess with that as well. But yeah, let me hop through some of these other settings, see what else is intriguing and interesting on here, and then we'll go for a ride and just kind of take a look at how this camera records. Alright, so taking out for a drive, the camera quality on this actually looks really good. So as you can see in some of these shots, you can see their license plates clearly if you get close enough or zoom in on the footage. And then if we go on nighttime footage of what it looks like, once you get close up, you can clearly see people's license plates as well, which is always a good thing. But far away, it seems like lights just put a big glare on the license plate, so you really don't see it from afar. But once you're up close at nighttime, you can see it pretty good. And then the inside is a very good crisp video, but I should have probably reviewed some of this footage before I actually just kept driving with it. My head is completely cut off by my rear view mirror. I will probably eventually see if I can adjust this a little bit to get it where you can physically see my face, but otherwise I'm just a headless body driving my car, and the camera quality for some reason on the inside seems like almost the best. But maybe it's just because there is glare or sun on the glass or something like that. But anyways, I will be putting a link down below to this dash cam if you guys are interested. So if you guys are new, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.